My wife looked pale and empty, so we went to the doctor. Suddenly, I was taken into another room alone. The doctor whispered, "Run now. 3 years ago, I went straight to the police and uncovered a terrifying truth. I watched my wife stare at the wall for 43 minutes. She sat on our couch in the living room, hands folded in her lap like a child at church, eyes fixed on a spot 6 inches above the television, not crying, not moving, just staring. The coffee I'd made her sat untouched on the side table, steam long gone. "Sarah," I said quietly, "we need to go." She blinked once, like she was surfacing from deep water. "Go where?" "The doctor, you promised." Her jaw tightened. "I'm fine." "You've been sitting there for almost an hour." "I was just thinking." "About what?" She didn't answer, just stood slowly, like her joints hurt, and walked past me toward the bedroom. I heard the closet door open, the soft rustle of her pulling on another long-sleeve shirt, even though it was 76 degrees outside. She always wore long sleeves now, even in summer. "My name is Daniel Foster. I'm 34 years old. I work in IT consulting, and I'd been married to Sarah Carter for 2 years. We'd met at a coffee shop in downtown Chicago. She'd spilled her latte on my laptop bag, apologized profusely, insisted on buying me lunch to make up for it. She'd been funny that day, quick with jokes, bright-eyed. That version of Sarah had disappeared 6 weeks ago. At first I'd thought it was work stress. She was a freelance graphic designer, always juggling deadlines. But then, the symptoms started. She'd stopped eating breakfast, started waking at 3 a.m. and pacing the apartment. Her hands trembled when she tied her shoes. 3 days ago, I'd found her sitting on the bathroom floor at 6 a.m., knees pulled to her chest, staring at the tile grout. "Sarah?" I'd knelt beside her. "What's wrong?" "Nothing." Her voice had cracked on the word. "Just needed some air." "On the bathroom floor?" She'd looked at me then, really looked. And for a second, I'd seen something in her eyes that made my chest tighten. Fear. But fear of what? That morning I'd finally put my foot down. "We're going to urgent care today, no arguments." She'd resisted, said it was just stress, said she was fine. But when I'd threatened to call an ambulance, she'd agreed. Now she emerged from the bedroom in jeans and a gray Henley, sleeves pulled down to her wrists. Her face was pale, shadows under her eyes like bruises. "Let's go," she said. We drove to Lakeside Urgent Care on Ogden Avenue in Naperville, 20-minute drive. Sarah spent the entire time staring out the passenger window, fingers twisting in her lap. I tried to make conversation, asked about her current design project, about what she wanted for dinner, about the trip we'd been planning to Michigan. She gave one-word answers. "Fine, whatever." "Sure." At a stoplight, I reached over and touched her hand. She flinched, actually flinched, like I'd burned her. "Sorry," she whispered, "just jumpy." But her hand pulled away from mine and tucked under her thigh where I couldn't reach it. The urgent care waiting room smelled like antiseptic and old coffee. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. A kid with a bloody nose sat across from us, his mother pressing tissues to his face. CNN played on mute on the wall-mounted TV. Sarah filled out the intake forms with slow, deliberate movements. Name, date of birth, insurance information, medical history. When the receptionist called her up to hand over her ID, I watched the woman's face carefully. She glanced at Sarah's driver's license, typed something into her computer, then paused. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard for just a second. Then she typed faster, handed the license back with a practiced smile. "The nurse will call you shortly." Sarah sat back down beside me, didn't look at me, just stared at the CNN ticker scrolling across the bottom of the screen like she was reading it. But her eyes didn't track left to right, they just stared. "Sarah," I said quietly, "whatever this is, we'll figure it out, okay?" She nodded once, mechanical. 15 minutes later, a nurse called her name. Sarah stood like she was moving through water. I followed her down a narrow hallway lined with exam rooms. The nurse, young, tired-looking, name tag said Jennifer K., took Sarah's vitals in room 4. Temperature, 98.4. Blood pressure, 128/84. Pulse, 92. "A little elevated," Jennifer noted, "but not concerning. The doctor will be in shortly." She left. Sarah sat on the exam table, paper crinkling under her. Her hands gripped the edge like she might fall. I sat in the plastic chair against the wall. "See? Not so bad." She didn't respond. A knock. The door opened. A woman in a white coat stepped inside. Mid-40s, dark hair pulled back, sharp brown eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Her name tag read, Dr. Annika Patel, MD, 18 years internal medicine. "Sarah?" Dr. Patel's voice was calm, professional. She extended her hand. Sarah shook it. Her grip was limp. Dr. Patel sat on the rolling stool. "Tell me what's been going on." Sarah's answer was rehearsed, flat. "I've been tired, not sleeping well. Stomach's been off. Any specific symptoms? Nausea? Dizziness? Just tired." Dr. Patel studied her. "Your husband mentioned you've been very withdrawn." Sarah shot me a look. Quick, sharp. "He worries too much," she said. "Fair enough." Dr. Patel pulled out her stethoscope. "Let me listen to your heart and lungs." Sarah lifted her shirt slightly. Dr. Patel pressed the stethoscope to her chest, moved it to her back. Deep breath. Sarah breathed. Again. Sarah complied. Dr. Patel's expression expression stayed neutral, professional, but I saw something flicker behind her eyes. "Everything sounds clear," she said. "Can you roll up your left sleeve for me? I want to check your blood pressure manually." Sarah hesitated, just for half a second. Then she pushed her sleeve up to her elbow. Dr. Patel wrapped the cuff around her arm, pumped it, watched the gauge, but her eyes weren't on the numbers. They were on Sarah's forearm, specifically on a small tattoo, a compass rose, maybe an inch wide, faded, partially hidden by the cuff. Dr. Patel's jaw tightened, then smoothed. "Blood pressure looks good," she said, removing the cuff. She rolled her stool back slightly. "I'd like to run some blood work, just to rule out thyroid issues, anemia, vitamin deficiencies." "That's it?" Sarah asked. "That's it." Dr. Patel stood, opened the door, called down the hall. "Jennifer, can you take Miss Carter to the lab for a full panel?" Jennifer appeared. "Of course." Dr. Patel turned to Sarah, smiled. "This won't take long." Then she turned to me. Her expression didn't change, but her voice dropped half an octave. "Daniel, could I speak with you alone for a moment? Just a few quick questions about Sarah's medical history?" Sarah's eyes snapped to me. "Why alone?" "Routine," Dr. Patel said smoothly. "Sometimes partners notice symptoms the patient doesn't report. It helps me get a complete picture." Sarah frowned, but said nothing as Jennifer guided her toward the lab down the hall. The moment Sarah turned the corner, Dr. Patel grabbed my wrist. Hard. She pulled me into a small office across the hall, shut the door, locked it. The calm professionalism vanished like smoke. "You need to leave," she said, voice low and urgent. "Right now. Walk out the side exit. Don't go back to that exam room. Don't let her see you leaving." My heart slammed against my ribs. "What? Why? Is she dying?" "No." Dr. Patel pulled out her phone, scrolled frantically. "This isn't about her health. It's about who she is. I don't understand. 3 years ago, I worked an ER shift at Cook County Memorial. A woman came in under police custody, assault charges. She had a surgical scar across her lower left ribs, an old fracture in her left wrist that hadn't healed properly, and a small compass rose tattoo on her left forearm." Dr. Patel turned her phone to face me. The screen showed an old patient photo, a woman with the same bone structure as Sarah. Same eyes, different hair. "That's not Sarah," I said automatically. "No," Dr. Patel said. "That's Maya Brennan. She escaped during prisoner transport. They never caught her. And I just saw those exact same markers on your wife." The room tilted. "That's impossible. Sarah doesn't have a scar. Roll up her shirt and check her lower left ribs. I saw it when I listened to her lungs." Dr. Patel's voice was shaking now. "Daniel, listen to me. The bulletin said she was considered dangerous, that she used relationships as cover, that she'd been violent when cornered." From down the hall, Sarah's voice cut through the door. "Daniel, where are you?" Dr. Patel's face went white. "If she realizes I recognized her, if she panics..." The doorknob rattled. "Daniel?" Dr. Patel shoved me toward a second door I hadn't noticed. It led to a supply closet. "Go! Out through the staff hallway. There's an exit by the pharmacy. Run! I can't just..." "She could hurt you." Dr. Patel's eyes were wide. "Or me. Or anyone here, please." The doorknob rattled harder. I didn't think. I moved. Through the supply closet. Into a staff hallway that smelled like bleach and stress. Past nurses giving me confused looks. Through a door marked "Authorized Personnel Only." I burst into the parking lot. Cold October air hit my lungs like ice water. Behind me, I heard the staff door bang open. Footsteps. Fast. I ducked between two SUVs, pressed myself against cold metal, and pulled out my phone with shaking hands. 911. 3 rings. 911, what's your emergency? My wife. My voice cracked. I swallowed. Tried again. A doctor just told me my wife might be an escaped prisoner. I'm at Lakeside Urgent Care on Ogden Avenue. She's inside. I think she's dangerous. Sir, are you in immediate danger? I don't know. I'm hiding in the parking lot. The doctor said. I stopped. Listened. More footsteps. Slower now. Methodical. I peered through the SUV's windows. Sarah had emerged from the building, but this wasn't the withdrawn, hollow woman from the exam room. Her shoulders were squared. Her head moved in smooth sweeps, scanning the lot. Her posture was different, confident, alert, like someone who'd done this before. "Sir?" The dispatcher's voice pulled me back. "Are you still there?" "Yes," I whispered. "She's outside. She's looking for me. Police are en route. Approximately 4 minutes. Can you stay hidden?" "I think so." Sarah walked toward our Honda Accord, tried the handle, locked. She pressed her face to the driver's window, peered inside, then straightened, scanned the lot again. Her eyes passed over the SUVs I was hiding between, kept moving, then snapped back. She started walking toward me, not running, walking, like she had all the time in the world. "Sir, do you see her?" the dispatcher asked. "She's coming toward me. Can you move? If I move, she'll see me." Sarah was 30 feet away now. 25, 20. Then a patrol car whipped into the lot, lights flashing silent. Another car behind it. Sarah froze. For a split second, her expression cracked. I saw calculation, quick math. Then she turned and jogged toward the far side of the building. 2 officers jumped out, 1 male, 1 female. The male officer pointed. "Around back!" They took off running. Someone touched my shoulder. I jerked so hard I slammed my head into the SUV's side mirror. Dr. Patel crouched beside me. me, breathing hard. I'm sorry. I tried to stall her in the lab, but she figured out I'd separated you two. She asked where you were, and when I couldn't give her a good answer, she just left. Walked right out. What happens now? My voice didn't sound like mine. Now you tell them everything. The police caught her 11 minutes later. She'd tried to slip through the urgent care's back exit into the strip mall parking lot behind it, but officers had already circled the building. She ran, made it maybe 50 yards before 3 officers tackled her. She fought hard. It took all 3 to get the handcuffs on while she screamed and twisted and kicked. They brought me to the police station, put me in an interview room that smelled like burned coffee and desperation. Pale green walls, metal table bolted to the floor, two-way mirror. Detective Elena Ramirez walked in 20 minutes later, mid-40s, graying temples, tired eyes that had seen everything. She'd been with Naperville PD for 19 years, she told me, specialized in fraud and identity theft cases. Tell me about your wife, she said, settling into the chair across from me. So I did. I told her about the coffee shop where we'd met, about the whirlwind romance, about the small wedding at a courthouse with just a few friends, because Sarah said her family was estranged, about the past 2 years of what I'd thought was a happy marriage, about the past 6 weeks of watching her deteriorate. Detective Ramirez listened without interrupting, took notes on a yellow legal pad. Do you have photos? She finally asked. I pulled up my phone. Our anniversary photo from 3 months ago. Sarah smiled at the camera, arm around my waist, wearing a burgundy dress with long sleeves. She always wears long sleeves, Ramirez noted. Every day, I said. Even in summer, even inside. Did you ever see this scar Dr. Patel mentioned? No, she never let me see her without a shirt on. Even after 2 years. My voice cracked. I thought she was just shy. Ramirez studied me. Did she ever talk about her past? Where she grew up? Old friends? Family? She said she grew up in Ohio. Said her parents died in a car accident when she was 18. Said she didn't keep in touch with anyone from before. Did you verify any of that? I felt my face heat. No. I trusted her. Ramirez's expression softened. Most people do. That's how this works. She pulled out a tablet, typed something, pulled up a database, entered Sarah's information. The screen stayed blank. She frowned, tried again. Nothing. Your wife's social security number doesn't match any Sarah Carter in our system, she said slowly. It's flagged as belonging to a deceased individual. My stomach dropped. Ramirez typed more, pulled up another database, cross-referenced something. An old photo loaded. Same face, different hair, harder expression. The name underneath read Maya Brennan, Dobe, 08-14-1988, escaped custody, March 2021. That's her, I whispered. Ramirez zoomed in, read the file. Her jaw tightened. Maya Brennan was arrested 3 years ago for aggravated assault. She attacked her then-boyfriend with a kitchen knife after he tried to end their relationship. He survived but needed 18 stitches. Ramirez looked up. During transport to the county jail, the transport van was in an accident. She escaped in the confusion. And she just, disappeared? She stole the identity of a woman named Sarah Carter who died in a single car accident in 2020. Rebuilt the whole identity. Got new documents, new life, new husband. Ramirez's voice was flat. The room spun. The file says she's considered dangerous when exposed, Ramirez continued. The behavioral profile indicates she forms relationships for cover and stability. She becomes violent when she feels threatened or cornered. She's been getting sick, I said. The past 6 weeks. She's been probably scared, Ramirez finished. Something triggered her, made her think she was about to be caught. That's why she was deteriorating. Not physically, psychologically. I thought about Sarah sitting on the bathroom floor, staring at nothing. She'd been planning, calculating, trying to decide what to do. What happens now? I asked. Now we process her, take her statement, and you should probably get a lawyer, because once this goes to court, you're going to have a lot of questions to answer. They held Sarah, Maya, in a cell while they sorted through the paperwork. I saw her once through the observation window. She sat on the metal bench, handcuffed, staring at the wall. When she noticed me watching, she looked up. No tears, no apologies, no panic, just cold, flat calculation, like she was already planning her next move. I turned away before she could see my hands shaking. Detective Ramirez pulled me aside an hour later. We've contacted Ohio authorities. They're sending someone to pick her up. She'll be extradited to face the original assault charges, plus escape, identity theft, and fraud. What about me? You're not being charged with anything. You're a victim. She paused. Daniel, I have to ask, did you ever suspect anything? I thought about it. Really thought. The long sleeves, the missing family, the way she flinched when I tried to look through old photos on her phone, the way she always insisted on driving her own car to appointments instead of letting me take her. I think, I said slowly, some part of me knew something was off, but I didn't want to see it. Ramirez nodded. That's common. We see what we want to see, especially in people we love. I didn't love her, I said. The words surprised me. I loved who I thought she was, but that person never existed. 2 days later, I met with a lawyer. Marcus Chen, 42, specialized in fraud cases for 16 years. He confirmed I wasn't wasn't legally liable for anything. Maya's identity theft hadn't involved my finances. Our marriage license would be invalidated since she'd used stolen documents. Legally speaking, it was like we'd never been married at all. You'll need to be prepared for media attention, Marcus warned. This kind of case gets traction. Man unknowingly married to fugitive? That's a headline. He was right. The story hit local news first, then regional, then national. Man discovers wife is escaped prisoner after doctor's warning. My phone exploded. Reporters, old friends, co-workers. Everyone wanted to know, how could I not know? Were there signs? Did I feel stupid? I stopped answering. Maya, I couldn't think of her as Sarah anymore, was extradited to Ohio 3 weeks later. The prosecutor there, Linda Morrison, called me personally. She'd been with the Hamilton County DA's office for 23 years. We're charging her with the original assault, escape, identity theft, fraud, and unlawful flight, she said. With the priors and the escape, she's looking at 8 to 12 years minimum. Will I have to testify? Probably, if it goes to trial, but most likely she'll take a plea. She did. Maya Brennan pleaded guilty to all charges in exchange for a reduced sentence of 10 years. I watched the hearing via video feed. She stood in an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed in front of her, and answered the judge's questions in a flat monotone. Do you understand these charges? Yes. How do you plead? Guilty. The judge sentenced her on the spot. 10 years in a medium security facility. Eligible for parole in 6. Before they led her away, she looked directly at the camera, at me, and I saw it again. That cold, calculating expression. She mouthed 2 words. I'm sorry. But her eyes weren't apologetic. They were blank. The hearing ended. The screen went dark. I sat in my apartment, our apartment, surrounded by her things. Her coffee mug in the sink, her jacket on the hook, her toothbrush in the bathroom. Evidence of a person who never existed. Dr. Patel called me that evening. I saw the news. Are you okay? No, I said honestly. But I will be. You know, she said quietly, in 18 years of medicine, I've only recognized a patient from a wanted poster twice. Once was routine, a guy with unpaid parking tickets. But the other time was 3 years ago, when I treated Maya Brennan in that ER. She scared me even then. Something about her eyes. You saved my life. I did my job. She paused. Daniel, listen, I don't normally do this, but if you need someone to talk to, professionally I mean, I know an excellent therapist, Dr. Richard Moss. He specializes in trauma and identity-related psychological damage. You think I need therapy? I think you just found out your entire relationship was built on a lie. Yes, I think you need therapy. She was right. I started seeing Dr. Moss the following week. Spent months unpacking what had happened. Months learning to trust my own judgment again. Months understanding that sometimes people are exactly what they appear to be, and sometimes they're not. 6 months after Maya's sentencing, I was finally ready to move. I packed up the apartment, donated most of her things, and bought a condo in downtown Chicago. Started over. One afternoon, I was unpacking boxes in my new bedroom when I found something wedged in the back of Maya's nightstand drawer that I'd accidentally taken with me. A burner phone. I turned it on. It had 3 contacts saved. Emergency 1, Emergency 2, Emergency 3. All with different area codes. None I recognized. The call history showed she'd contacted Emergency 2 6 times in the 2 weeks before the urgent care visit. The last call was the day before. I stared at that phone for 20 minutes. Then I called Detective Ramirez. She had a network, Ramirez said when she saw the phone. We suspected but couldn't prove it. These numbers could lead to other fugitives, other stolen identities. They traced all 3 numbers. 2 belonged to disconnected lines, but the 3rd led to a woman in Portland named Lisa Morgan. Lisa Morgan was also a stolen identity. The real Lisa Morgan had died in 2019. The woman using her name was wanted for embezzlement in Texas. The FBI picked her up 3 days later. Detective Ramirez called me with the update. You helped us find someone who'd been missing for 4 years. That counts for something. It doesn't bring back the 2 years I lost. No, she agreed, but it might save someone else from losing theirs. A year after everything imploded, I got a letter, prison mail, return address in Ohio, from Maya. I almost threw it away unopened, but I didn't. The letter was short, handwritten on lined paper. Daniel, I know you probably hate me. You should. I lied about everything, but there's one thing I need you to know. I never meant to hurt you. You were kind to me. You made me feel normal. For 2 years, I almost believed I could be the person you thought I was. Almost. But people like me don't get to be normal. We don't get to start over. We just keep running until someone catches us. I'm sorry you got caught in the blast radius. Maya, I read it 3 times. Then I burned it in the sink and watched the ashes swirl down the drain. Because here's what I finally understood. Maya Brennan hadn't been my wife. She'd been a performance, a carefully constructed character designed to hide a fugitive, and I'd fallen in love with a ghost. 3 years later, I'm sitting in my condo watching the sun set over Lake Michigan. I've got a new job, new friends. I'm even dating again, slowly, carefully, with eyes wide open. open. Dr. Moss says I'm healing, that I'm learning to trust again without being naive. I think he's right, but sometimes, late at night when I can't sleep, I still think about that moment in the parking lot, about Sarah's face when she realized I knew, about how fast the mask dropped, about how she looked at me afterward, not with love, not with regret, with calculation, like I'd been a problem, and problems needed solutions. Detective Ramirez told me something during one of our last conversations. She said the scariest people aren't the ones who hurt you on purpose. They're the ones who hurt you without thinking twice about it. The ones for whom deception isn't a choice, it's just who they are. I spent 2 years married to someone like that. 2 years sleeping next to someone who saw me as cover, as camouflage, as a tool for survival. And the worst part? I never suspected a thing. Not until a doctor I'd never met looked at my wife's forearm and recognized a compass rose tattoo from 3 years ago. A tattoo that pointed me toward the truth, that the woman I'd married was never my wife at all.